Hey, she's already killing you both. Hey, hello, everybody. Taco Tuesday. Pushing, I'm pushing too many buttons, you guys. Now I'm having issues with my phone now. I think it's the location part. I must have pushed it. And okay, Tim Kay's out voting. She'll be in afterwards. She's not sure how long she'll be. Finish the candy bar, Lucy. Yeah, Kara, I'm pushing the wrong buttons. I gotta figure out what happened. Yep, yep. Yeah, Lucy eats the dessert first and then the soup. Where's the location on your phone? Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Can I just say you something, Carol? I'll try and turn the volume down. Oh, what's the matter with? I can't believe nothing's going right tonight. Ah, can't be the batteries. The batteries are brand new. Oh, Trump's picking up 4:30. Okay, we'll check it out. Thanks. We'll start here in a minute. Oh, the steak. Oh. Oh. Think buttons. Is he gonna be at Fox, Carol? I can't believe this. Oh, 5:30? Ooh, I wonder what that's going to be, you guys. 6 o'clock could be dangerous. Is that too loud on the television? I can't turn it down right now. He's speaking right now, you guys, I think. Hold on. You asked me that 3 times already. I did. This is exactly how it started with Mom. Worried about your brain health? Cerebral brain wellness has a dual action formula.
A ruler, somebody with, I don't mean a ruler like a king, I mean like a ruler, this way. And it's just an artificial line that was drawn in the, or in the ice. And can I tell Peter, just, you add that to this.
This here, Tim?
Beautiful landmass, the most beautiful landmass anywhere in the world. And it was just cut off for whatever reason. It would be great. Now, is it liberal? Maybe, but you know, a conservative until I got involved, because I don't care who wins up there. I frankly probably would do better with the liberal than the conservative, if you want to know the truth. But just a little while ago, before I got involved and totally changed the election, which I don't care about.
I don't know if this is it or not.
Probably it's our advantage, actually. But the conservative was leading against, I call him Governor Trudeau. The conservative was leading by 35 points. So, you know, so I don't know about that. I think Canada is a place like a lot of other places. If you have a good candidate, the candidate's going to win.
And I don't know if you've seen this, but the 2 astronauts that you just helped save from space, they didn't get any overtime pay for all that extra time. They got $5 a day per diem for 286 days. That is $1,430 in extra pay. Is there anything the administration can do to get them, to make them whole?
Well, nobody's ever mentioned this to me. If I have to, I'll pay it out of my own pocket, okay? I'll get it for you.
Mr. President, I'll follow up on the
I like that.
Mr. President,
I'll pay it right out of my, is that all? That's not a lot. For what they had to go through. And I want to thank Elon Musk, by the way, because think if we don't have him. You know, there's only so long, even though they're in the capsule up there, that the body starts to deteriorate after 9 or 10 months and gets really bad after 14, 15 months with the bones and the blood and all the things that you've been reporting on very well. And if we don't have Elon, they could be up there a long time. Who else is going to get him? And I just want to thank him. He's going through a lot, what they're doing to him. And these people are going to be caught, and they're going to be caught, and they're going to be prosecuted. And from what they tell me, I see this just by watching your programs and reading the news, but from what they tell me, they could get 20 years in jail, and they'll get it. I'll tell you, there's going to be no leniency, and there'll be no pardons. I can tell you that right.
And you said this morning 20 years in jail, and then maybe you said this morning 20 years in jail, and then maybe they'll go to one of these prisons in El Salvador, do you think with the way that the judges have been issuing injunctions, it would be easier or harder to send these Tesla domestic terrorists to a jail in El Salvador than these MS-13 or Tren de Aragua guys?
Well, I view these people as terrorists just like others. When I looked at those showrooms burning and those cars, not one or two, like 7, 8, 10 burning, exploding all over the place. These are terrorists. You didn't have that on January 6th, I can tell you. You didn't have anything like that on January 6th, which is sort of amazing because on January 6th, the Democrats were talking. Nobody was killed other than a very beautiful young woman, Ashley Babbitt. Nobody was killed. And you look at what's going on now with these terrorists. These are terrorists, and that's an organized event. You know, take a look at their signs. Take a look. They're all made by the same sign company. A nice, expensive job. Now, these are the people that finance it are, in my opinion, in just as big a trouble as the people that are setting the match and setting the fires. So we'll see. It's under very serious investigation by the FBI and by the Justice Department. These people are terrorists.
Mr. President, you mentioned a deal with Ukraine.
Mr. President, what do you say to American military families who are seeing Elon Musk at the Pentagon today, are hearing about Defense Department cuts, and their thoughts are immediately going to the safety of their loved ones who are currently deployed?
Well, we're making our country
Hang
strong.
on,
And
guys.
when they
There's
see
something
a
else
thing like
going on.
that, and they hear that story about Elon and China, what they should do is
Please go.
This is going to be tremendous. I mean, the state of Alabama, what we've seen through this process is
I don't
the worst of
understand how it
Washington.
comes out
We've seen
white.
politics get in the way of what is best for the warrior, what's best for national security. The state of Alabama is about to show the country the best among us. So we know the economic impact is going to be tremendous. There at Redstone Arsenal, we're proud to house everything from the FBI to headquarters there for material command to a number of things. We obviously have NASA with Marshall Space Flight Center, and so this naturally fits within. When you look at the decision matrix that they placed in front of us, that's why we ranked so high, is because we have the resources necessary and the ability to build out quickly to meet the needs in front of us. As far as economic impact, it would be tremendous. Does anybody have an exact number? 1,600 jobs.
3,000 spent on.
Kay had to go
3,000
vote
spent off.
tonight.
Look at
She'll
this.
be
This
in
is
late.
teamwork right here. So we are really proud, and the people of Alabama are ready to get to work.
And I've got a housing question, if you could, just for a second, Mr.
Yeah,
President.
please.
Owning a home and going about the American dream seems like it's out of touch for a lot of Americans.
Yeah.
Just recently, you pushed out a statement about addressing an emergency housing situation.
That's right, we're thinking about doing that.
Yeah, can you just?
Well, we need a little help from the Fed. We have a man named Jerome Too Late Powell. You probably heard of him. He's too late. He's way too late. And the economy is so strong that it's pushing through that. Normally, it would have been much tougher, but we're doing so well that we're pushing through it. But it makes it very hard for people to get mortgages because too late is too late. Very simple. He's too late. And probably political, whatever. He wasn't too late before the election. Before the election, he was cutting rates,
You want me to
right?
stop
Because he was
for the
hoping that,
intel?
I guess, Biden would get in or that Kamala would. He was a big Biden guy. Explain that one. And then he was a Kamala person. But he was hoping, I guess, she'd win, I guess. I don't know. It didn't work out too well. But, yeah, we need a very serious cut. You know, I think that if you look back many decades ago, the United States was always the lowest, even if they were doing badly. The United States was, because without the United States, everything in the world would die. It's true. It's so powerful. It's so big. And I made it really big in the first 4 years. Then it started to degenerate with what this Biden administration did. But we built it up to a level that I never thought we could be at this quickly. We're the hottest, we're the best financially. The money coming in is so big because of tariffs and other things, but because of tariffs. Tariff gets us even those other things. Plus, it gets us great negotiating. I settled 7 wars, and numerous of those wars were because of trade. And numerous of the trade deals that I made were because of tariffs. It gives you a great negotiating ability. If that ability were taken away from us by a liberal court acting on essentially foreign nations asking to get help from the United States government, when they've been doing this to us for 40 years, that's why we have $38 trillion in debt. We won't have it for long if they let us, if they allow us to do what everybody knows we should be able to do. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, another Biden-era action that you're now reversing is that you signed a deal last week to make federal buildings adopt and embrace classical architecture styles again. Can you talk to us about why you do that, and also what's your vision?
Well, we want to see beautiful buildings. Now, you know, it's in the eye of the beholder. I've seen architectural reviews over the years. I'm an expert at it. I've gotten a lot of great reviews. But I've seen buildings that I didn't think were very good get great reviews, and I've seen great buildings get bad reviews. So, but it's just a standard. We want to have a good standard. We're building something here, you know, for 150 years they wanted a ballroom at the White House. We're doing something at the highest level using great architects.
There, it's a ballroom.
And you know, it's very exciting. But we have a lot of interesting things happening architecturally in D.C. And D.C. is like a different place. And, you know, even the contractor said, sir, we walked down today, we feel like much safer.
You guys want me to stop? I'm going to go ahead and get into Intel. That's enough, Chico. No more. Oh, shoot. Chico. Hang on, you guys. Two, 4, 7, 6, 5. 2, 4, 5. Okay, this first one, you guys, I'm not sure if we played it. No, if we played it or not.
Humanity was about to witness one of the most horrific tragedies in history.
How many seen this one?
7 crew members are heading out to board
Why
the
not?
doomed shuttle.
Lay down.
One of them is a school teacher.
Peggy, Maria.
This is the first time a teacher would travel to
Tell her,
space.
hope they'll maybe stop in, say hi. She's busy. Hey, Cody.
The world watched with excitement and anticipation.
on, buddy.
Seven lives were lost on that fateful day. Or were they? It turns out they were not on board the shuttle. And no, these photos are not AI-generated age progressions. These are real people.
Carol, you ever see
Anyone
that?
can look them up on Google. While it is true that everyone has a doppelganger, having a doppelganger with the same name is incredibly rare. So rare, in fact, that the handful of cases known to exist have made national news. You're probably wondering, if they are alive, then what is the reason for the deception? I'll answer that question in a moment, but first, let's take a look at the evidence. 3 of the 5 Challenger astronauts, Richard Scobie, Judy Resnick, and Michael J. Smith, all 3 of them were found to be alive, still using their original names.
Starfire, yeah.
Is it possible that these 3 astronauts could have living doppelgangers with the same names?
Yeah.
Not likely, and here's why.
Interesting video.
Although Michael J. Smith is a common name, the names of the other 2 astronauts, Richard Scobie and Judy Resnick, are exceptionally uncommon. For example, there are only 6 women currently living in the U.S. named Judy or Judith Resnick. And there are only 16 men currently living in the U.S. under any variation of the name Richard Scobie. What are the chances that all 3 of these astronauts would have living doppelgangers with the same names? The other 2 astronauts, Ronald McNair and Ellison Onizuka, both were found to have living twin brothers named Carl McNair and Claude Onizuka. However, no birth records could be found for either one of them. Some have speculated that Krista McAuliffe is now a Syracuse law professor named Sharon McAuliffe, and although they do look similar in appearance, their facial features do not match up. So as of now, the whereabouts of Krista McAuliffe and Gregory Jarvis remain officially unknown. An investigator tracked down and confronted Professor Judith Resnick.
Hey, Judy? How you doing? I'm from the press. I just had a quick question, if you don't mind.
What press?
From a radio station in San Bernardino. I know there's a conspiracy about the space shuttle. No, I want to be polite.
Professor Michael J. Smith was also tracked down and confronted.
Are you Michael Smith?
Yeah.
Professor at university? Retired?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just stopped by because there's this room. Are you aware that there's a rumor on the internet?
It's not me.
That people are saying...
Yeah, it's not me, obviously. I mean, anybody that looks at my background, looks where I was born, it's not me. I mean, it's interesting that the Michael J. Smith that was the astronaut looks something like me when we were younger, but really not if you really look at facial recognition.
You never been a pilot, never been in the military?
Nothing like that. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all
I don't respond to the emails I get. I get probably an email, maybe 2 a month.
Really?
And I got one guy that's been really hounding me, and I turned it over to the FBI.
Really?
You know, I mean, it's bullshit.
Okay.
You know, another...
Dang it. What happened?
And confronted Professor Judith Resnick.
Nothing like that. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all
I don't respond to the emails I get. I get
Have you
probably
left
an
10
email,
minutes? Have you left
maybe 2 a
about
month.
halfway?
And I got one guy that's been really hounding me, and I turned it over to the FBI. You know, I mean, it's bullshit. You know, another crazy theory.
Okay.
But that's, not me. I'm glad I wasn't him, but he's quite a guy.
Yeah.
You know, but if you look at my career, you look at my CV that's online, all the stuff I've published, all that I've done, it's not even close to what that guy was.
Okay. Yeah, you just sure look a lot. Is the same
I know the facial thing, but that's what we looked like, what, 40 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
We got breaking news, you guys. Breaking news. Chico. Go eat your food. God dang it.
Checkpoints, only 2 are working. A lot of other airports, same thing.
Hey, Chris.
Which is causing lines. But look at here. You don't see lines. Why? Because the entire airport is shut down. This is a very busy airport. Liege. Drone sightings have caused 2 airports in Belgium to completely suspend flights, leaving flights suspended at Brussels' main airport. Belgium news website VRT are reporting that there has been reports of drone sightings.
I wonder where you've been the last couple
about
of days.
the airport. Who the heck are flying these drones?
Okay, what did you say?
There are no flights departing or arriving due to suspected drones. They got bomb sniffing dogs all over the place too. What the heck is happening? Seriously. We see our good friend, the Karzar. The Karzar. Thank you for the comment and nice to see you all the time. The Karzar says Democrats want mass confusion and in trouble everywhere in the streets. We have big problems, folks. We have big problems. It's this government shutdown has caused major problems. They need to get this government. They need to figure it out fast. They need to figure it out fast. I am extremely concerned about the aviation travel going into these holidays. I'm extremely concerned here. I'm eyeing the stock market too. The stock market seems like it's doing okay. Bitcoin took a dip. Bitcoin at one point lost like 8%. Today they dipped below. I don't know where they're at now. I don't know what's going on with Bitcoin. Is that related in any way to what's?
Okay, let's go back and do that. Back then, Bill.
Very long arm, which is as long as the cargo bay. It's 50 feet long. Long history, you can see along with the other amazing, the list of what is often invoked.
This is
I'm hoping that I'll...
We're halfway.
Why didn't the crew board the shuttle? And the answer is complicated. The 1986 mission was the Challenger shuttle's 25th launch. Challenger was built in 1979 and was designed to be a test vehicle for the space program. It was not intended for long-term use, and plans to build the final vessel were repeatedly pushed back due to budget cuts, causing NASA much frustration. At the time, NASA held a lead position in the ongoing competition between countries to be the forefront in space exploration. The continuous denial of funding was perceived by NASA to be an ominous sign. They knew they had to do something, possibly out of fear of becoming obsolete, as public interest in NASA was steadily waning. So they came up with a plan that would garner enough sympathy from the public to get the funding that they needed without any loss of life. I don't believe that the 7 crew members were aware of NASA's plan until the day before launch. They were told that they would not be boarding the shuttle. it seems more plausible that the crew were unwittingly forced to comply with a cover-up, rather than doing so by choice. NASA assured that their families would be protected, and of course rewarded with a hefty financial compensation. After some minor cosmetic alterations to their appearances, the FBI's Witness Protection Program was able to create trails of phony credentials to secure them prominent careers. Why wouldn't they change their names? And how could they live out their lives undetected? For 6 of the crew members, this was easy to do because they were not household names. As I stated before, public interest in the space program was very low. I was alive back then, and the only one I knew of was teacher Krista McCauley. I had no idea who the other astronauts were. There was no internet back then, so the flow and reach of information was severely limited. For Krista McAuliffe, on the other hand, this transition would have been a lot more difficult because she was the only one who held celebrity status. She would have had no other choice but to go into permanent lay-low hiding, which carries the risk of depression and paranoia. As highlighted in the National Geographic documentary, after the explosion, NASA was awarded billions of dollars in new funding, which resurrected the space program as was intended, and public interest in NASA subsequently skyrocketed.
After 2 decades of budget cuts and a loss of public interest, the shuttle has never made good on its promise to provide a routine bus service to space. The 25th shuttle launch will be far more than just another trip into orbit. It's designed to resurrect the entire program.
And like Krista said, she said that shuttle, they can shut that down the very last second if anything's wrong.
In the months following the disaster, Morton Firecoal paid the astronauts' families around $4.6 million, but were awarded a $1.8 billion contract to develop a new range of rocket boosters.
If someone offered you $4.6 million to pretend that your loved one was deceased, even though they would still discreetly be a part of your life, would you do it? Of course you would. NASA achieved their selfish goal with callous disregard for the trauma they inflicted upon an entire generation of the nation's children. It is my firm belief that NASA's intentions were not nefarious per se, but rather indifferent to that effect. It is unreasonable to expect NASA or the crew members to admit culpability in such an elaborate deception, because can you imagine the backlash? Now you understand the importance of keeping this truth buried forever, and why the layers of lies are vehemently defended and perpetually instilled into the public's perception.
Okay. Yeah, JRL was on, so did that. Trump was speaking, so I got a lot of intel to get out. So that was a short 10. I want to play 2 videos for JJ.
And our Linda Scott, who's free of all responsibilities, but still able to her bootstraps. Now,
see this yet?
The dismissal documentary, it'll be up next week, of course. Looking forward to it. Chris Uhlmann with the story of how old mate got the biscuit 50 years ago. And remember the postscript? 2 further elections and the Australian people did not reverse the decision. Important to always know. All right, news poll today, unsurprisingly, majority of Australians have a problem with the concept of Big Australia and how fast we're going to be heading there. According to the news poll, 64% of voters want fewer immigrants moving to Australia. Now, we know that there is a very significant number of people, particularly in the sort of Gen X and older millennial age, that are starting to embrace one nation, and particularly when it surrounds this issue. But of course, Sean, if you dare say a word about it, if you mention this in the Senate, the tutting and the tutting can be heard all the way up and down the Hume.
Paul, the Labor Party and the Greens, they like to call one nation far right, but the reality is we're right so far. And as the polling shows, the Australian people agree with us.
I like that. He's off to a good start. Second appearance, good luck. He's on it. This is good. Keep going.
Thanks, Paul. I mean, and look, but in all seriousness, this is a huge problem. The people of Australia are crying out for the Labor Party to listen to them, and the Labor Party are not listening to them. They're continuing to inflict these high rates of immigration onto Australia. It's driving people into homelessness. And it's driving housing prices right up. And the solution is very simple: end mass immigration. One Nation can say it, and the people hear us, and that's why we're doing so well in the polls.
So presumably, Linda, the 64% would cover more than just the 15% that are there for One Nation, more than the 24% that will be there for the Libs, meaning potentially there's one or two Labor voters who also agree that we're in the wrong spot right now.
Look, this is the issue with One Nation and the Coalition. They are all spin, but just no substance. Jobs and Skills Australia released a really significant report today looking at the skill matrix that we need for the future for Australia's economic prosperity and our productivity. And a key part of that is making sure we have enough skills in the country to do the jobs that our companies need. And part of that lever is, and always has been for Australia, migration. It's so critical that we fill the skill shortages in places like construction from better training, better trades here, but also from migration. And the notion that we can somehow pretend that that is not an economic fact, it is not good for productivity, is just false and misleading. And so if we have somehow dramatic cuts to migration, we are at risk of tanking our economy, and that is what One Nation won't tell you about. The other thing I think it's important to say here, Paul, is that, you know, under Labor, they have driven up skilled migration and looked at the other bits of our migration mix to make sure it was more balanced. That did not happen under the Coalition. Under the Coalition, they had growth in some sectors of the migration program, particularly in international students, but not in the areas where our economy necessarily always needed it. So,
would you not give me, just slightly, would you not give me that perhaps, for want of a better term, the left of Australia, politics, intelligentsia, media, for decades, has now said everyone must finish year 12 and fingers crossed as many people as possible go to university. That the problem with the skill shortage is because we have, for want of a better term, kind of scandalised the choice of picking up a hammer. I mean, remember when, and again, I'm not suggesting you've got to sit here and defend Kim Beazley, right? But remember all that Education Australia? Remember when Julia Gillard again fought this, that built into the DNA of Labor governments or Labor oppositions has been go to uni, go to uni, go to uni, go to uni. Now there might be more efforts to go to TAFE, go to TAFE. But I think culturally, we could have avoided the need to import skills if we had embraced the opportunities of more kids to be able to go and get them.
Well, look, I'm a proud lefty and my dad was a very proud TAFE teacher. So I won't give it to you because I do think that the left has really embraced TAFE and training. They've embraced policies to have free TAFE right across the country right now. I keep encouraging James Ashby to go to TAFE. He won't listen to me. It'll be a good thing under this government and under their free TAFE policies. So I don't agree with you, but we do need to have a more concerted effort to get people into these areas and training in places like construction, a great industry, great roles, but also to get the houses for the future built.
All right, let's get to the free power announcement that was made today by the Climate and Energy Minister, Chris Bowen. This is him explaining how, depending on if you fill out the right form and you're in the right state, for a couple of hours, you'll get free power during the middle of the day.
And what it means is that energy companies will be required to offer you, if you have a smart meter, 3 hours of free power in the middle of the day when we have so much solar energy in the system.
Okay, so we now know that it's not going to really matter what the fine print is. It's not going to matter what the asterisks, again, that it's not for every state and not for everyone. But Sean, I can feel a slogan coming on that's going to get a public information campaign behind it, which of course will be shoved right down our throats. What do you think of what they've done here, and do you think it'll be popular?
Paul, it's free energy. It's free. It's just free. I can't believe I didn't think of it. It's just free. Why is he being so stingy? Why is it only 3 hours? Why not just make it free all day? And the reality is, it's this policy of free energy. It's only slightly more absurd than Labor's flagship policy of net zero. And so it's no surprise that Chris Bowen's one of the architects of the whole net zero policy has come up with this new free energy policy. And the truth is, if they think that they're going to get free energy, I've got a bridge in Sydney to sell. I suspect free energy is going to lead to the highest power bills that you've ever seen. And I suspect if we continue to listen to Labor and their ideas, that power bills will go up. And the simple solution to that is to start. I think we should scrap Chris Bowen's proposal, scrap net zero, and start embracing the things that made energy cheap and affordable in the first place, which is coal, gas, and those traditional power sources that, look, they weren't free, but the energy was an awful lot cheaper.
Yeah, certainly. I'm happy to go sort of Bowen free for a few hours a day here. One of the details that did come out in an announcement is something that, Linda, I'm going to give you 10 points for, which is Australians are very much embracing the idea of batteries at home to be able to effectively cut themselves off from the grid. I think it's a great idea, okay? Sometimes, broken clock, all the rest of it, there are good ideas that are out there.
1 minute.
But this particular idea here too, essentially, you have to go to the smart meter, which means as opposed to the averaging, they can sort of real-time work out what's going on. Obviously, if you've got the appliances to be able to time delay, things you would do at night to do during the day, or the pitch from the government is supposedly to people who are home in the middle of the day. But is it a lovely little slogan where there's going to be a spike in the tail? Because the energy companies today, the Australian Energy Council, have come out and said, what?
Oh, I think this is a great policy because it does mean that people can, transition to good systems where they can better measure their own individual households' pressure on the grid. And what Chris Bowen is trying to do is to incentivise people to use more power during the middle of the day when there's not as much pressure on the grid. Because we know, for example, I was with Chris Bowen last week at an event and he was speaking about just last week, in New South Wales, 30% of the coal-fired power component of the grid was down on that day. And everyone was shocked when he said this. And he said, well, this is a pretty common thing that happens because these coal-fired power stations, they're getting to the end of their life. So we need to manage the grid to make sure it's stable, and we need to transition to renewables to make sure there's more power coming in at a more affordable price. This is a great example, 3 hours during the middle of the day for Australians to access free power as they transition to these smart monitors to make sure that they're using the grid at a time that better spreads the energy demand across the 24-hour cycle. It's smart policy. It's good for people. I'm glad you're paying it credit where credit is due.
No. The batteries.
I'm glad you're celebrating
the batteries.
Chris Bowen and
you're
his
gonna make
magnificent Labor announcement. I'm so proud.
Sean, that's a lovely verbal. I love you, but that's the bit that I'm going to get the emails for it. Sean, again, your response to Linda and everything's okay scenario here.
I mean, I'd say go have a look at what smart meter introduction in the UK did to power prices there. They skyrocketed. And I think One Nation's been sort of warning people about the dangers of the smart meters for a very long time. I was talking to a gentleman the other day and he explained that, he's got his batteries going, the solar's going, he collects that energy, suddenly, bang, the smart meter starts sucking it out. The government will sell it back to him for 17 cents and yet they're charging him 30 cents for it. So ultimately all this free energy starts coming in at a huge cost to the taxpayer. And it seems a lot of that free energy is being the energy that you're providing the Labor government. Look, and this isn't a good policy. It's not a smart policy. The energy's not free. And watch these companies, they'll start covering the cost of the free energy at other times of the day. Ultimately, the cost is, and again, it's not even free. It's being paid for by someone else's money. That's just how it's going to work.
By the way, Linda, I know that Chris Bowen had that line in his speech, right? Right now, sorry, I've got to do the glasses thing. 66% of the New South Wales energy market is coal. In the past 24 hours, it's 59%. In the past 3 months, it's 65%. So, yes, it might have gone off that little bit of both.
So many of those power stations are failing on a regular basis, because are becoming unreliable.
And others have blown holes in
assets, right? So, let's be clear about this. These assets will not last. Many of them don't have many years to go. And the companies that own them, not the government, the companies that own them are not proposing to maintain them or keep them going. We need alternative, cheaper, renewable energy sources in this country. We need to get on and build them, and we need to ensure that companies are passing on those savings to people.
Nigel Farage standing by next. The one thing we can all agree on, the longer I can keep the glasses off the face permanently, the better. It's not a great look on the telly, but alas, one must read.
Okay, I got 2 5-minute under 5. We'll play this one first. 4 minutes.
Whether Trump stands with Israel and with the Jewish community globally, well, you shouldn't be after this. Have a listen.
Hello to everyone at the Republican Jewish Coalition, and congratulations on 40 amazing years. 4 days from now, we will celebrate the one-year anniversary of the most important election victory in the history of our country. With the help of many of you, we won all 7 swing states by millions of votes. We won the Electoral College 312 to 226. We won the popular vote for the first time of any Republican in decades, and we won 86% of the counties in America, 2,700 to 525. And very importantly, the RJC helped ensure that we won the highest percentage of Jewish vote of any Republican since 1988. I can't imagine we didn't do better than that after all I've done for the Jewish vote, I must be honest with you, but that's okay. 1988's not that bad. 1 year ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world by far. Wages for workers have risen at the fastest rate in 60 years, and more than $18 trillion are pouring into the United States from all over the world. We have fully secured our southern border, and we have ended 8 wars in 9 months. That's pretty good. 8 wars in 9 months. We have 1 to go, as you know, Russia, Ukraine. That includes the historic peace deal that ended the war in Gaza. After 2 harrowing years of darkness, our 20 courageous hostages were returned to the loving embrace of their families. And you have to remember, we also got many of the other hostages out long before that. Many, many hostages were gotten out by us. Israel has never had a better friend than President Donald J. Trump. In my first term, I terminated the disastrous Iran nuclear deal. With Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we totally obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity. And we didn't even get them by surprise. They expected it, and they got obliterated. After years of broken promises by many other American presidents, I kept my promise, officially recognized the capital of Israel, and moved the American embassy to Jerusalem. I also recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Who would have done that? Nobody even thought I was going to think about it. Nobody else thought about it for 70 years, but I did it. I withdrew the United States from the anti-American, anti-Israel UN Human Rights Council and terminated funding for the extremely corrupt United Nations Relief and Works Agency, a totally corrupt operation. We're also defending our Jewish citizens here in America. Just as I promised, we're deporting the foreign jihadist sympathizers and Hamas supporters from our country, and it's happening very quickly. Upon taking office, I signed a historic executive order directing every department and agency in the federal government to do everything in their power to end the scourge of anti-Semitism in America. My administration has filed historic civil rights lawsuits and cut off funding to colleges and universities that refuse to defend their Jewish students from vile acts of anti-Semitism. And we have secured some of the largest discrimination settlements in modern times. There's been nothing like it. In just 9 months, we have done more to protect Jewish Americans than any administration in history by far, and we're just getting started. We are going to continue to help. Together, we will make America stronger, safer, richer, prouder, and greater than ever before. I want to thank you once again to everyone at the Republican Jewish Coalition. God bless America. I'm with you all the way.
Okay, I got one more short one.
Dunk of the day.
All right, now let me set this up for you. Police are chasing a woman in a shopping centre car park. She's got a knife. She falls to the ground, and a police officer who's in a SUV forgets to put his handbrake on as he jumps out of the car, which then rolls over her. He jumps back into the car to reverse it off her, but forgets to put it in reverse and then drives over her. Now, I've got to point out, she wasn't injured in this incident. We're only going to show part of it because it's a bit But here's our dope of the day. Now, the bit we couldn't show you is when he attempts to reverse away from her. He doesn't put it in reverse, he puts it in drive and goes over her. As I said, no one injured. But I reckon luckiest criminal ever, whatever offences she may have committed, I reckon she'll hit the jackpot when it comes to litigating against the Toronto Police Department.
Oh, gosh, how do you manage that? That is so bad. Or something else that could be potentially really bad. Imagine being pooped on by a bird at your wedding after one lands on you. A couple, Mark and Maxine in Queensland, narrowly escaped that fate when a giant kookaburra landed on the bride's head. Have a look.
Even if I died tomorrow. What is it?
It's okay. It's a kookaburra. It's a really good sign.
Wow, that was a near miss.
I mean, it could have been a pelican, so, you know, she got off lightly, really.
It was huge, though. And the look, she was like,
Well, I mean, it could have been the hired entertainment. You just sit there and laugh as opposed to sing. But you know how the song goes, kookaburra sits on the bride to be. You know, it all makes perfect sense as to why it would be there. And I tell you what, if you're worried about things landing on your hair, maybe it's because you've recently gained a fair bit of it. Now, we all know Stephen Bradbury, of course, the ice skater, the man who pulled off the Bradbury after everyone fell over and he won gold at the Olympics. And he popped up, I was watching the coverage of the Channel 9 and who pops up, but Stephen Bradbury. Take a look. He seems to have improved his hairline quite significantly of recent times. That's not just a small difference there, of course. That's the old Stephen Bradbury at the top, and that's the new Stephen Bradbury
I don't know
at the
if you
bottom.
heard that
Trip to Turkey, anyone?
don't laugh, because James might be asking if
I knew that was going to happen. You call yourself a friend, Freya, and you end the show with that.
I'm sorry, I
got to say, I thought he looked pretty good.
Dreams.
Get in the game with Fanatic Sportsbook and get 10.
Did anybody catch this afternoon? Hold on. Oh, shoot.
YouTube channel just arrested by authorities after making a threat to President Trump. This is crazy. Psychotic rant that this guy made. His name is Trent Schneider, 57 years old, from suburban Chicago, Illinois. Oh my goodness. I'm going to play what he said about the President of the United States. He has been arrested. He has been taken into custody. This is psychotic, folks. Check it out.
A far north suburban man is arrested by the feds accused of threatening to kill President Donald Trump. Thank you for joining us. I'm Scott Schneider.
And I'm Dawn Hasbrook. Secret Service agents showed up to search his Winthrop Harbor home this morning. Casey Kronos is live at the Dirksen Federal Courthouse where he faced a judge earlier today. Casey.
That's right, and federal officials say that man made those death threats against President Trump on Instagram all in the last several weeks. Tonight, that Lake County man is still behind bars. It's this cartoon image and the words 57-year-old Trent Schneider allegedly wrote with it that brought Secret Service agents and the Lake County Sheriff's SWAT team to his door. Schneider lives just 1 mile from the Wisconsin state line in Winthrop Harbor in the 2800 block of 15th Street. This mugshot is from an incident in Lake County a few years back when he was charged with aggravated battery and assault of a peace officer. Now unsealed court documents say Schneider shared this photo roughly 20 times on Instagram between September 26th and October 21st. This is not a threat, he claims, then says, quote, after losing everything and my house auction date is 11/04/2025, Donald Trump should be executed, unquote. Court records confirm Schneider's house is in foreclosure. A pending court case with Rocket Mortgage is active, and an auction date of November 4th is listed online. But it wasn't just this photo. Federal prosecutors say Schneider also posted a video of himself threatening to kill the president, saying he is going to get some guns and, quote, take care of business himself, unquote. In a statement, Secret Service Director Sean Curran tells us protecting the President of the United States is the Secret Service's top priority. We fully investigate any and all threats to his safety, no matter the platform, because we take them extremely seriously. This case should serve as a reminder that actions have consequences. And officials say it was a Florida resident that saw Schneider's video and tipped off police. Schneider is due back in court here at Dirksen this Thursday.
Well, Cheryl, more details were released late this afternoon following the arrest of the Winthrop Harbor man. The 26-page complaint detailing the charge he faces after being taken into federal custody this morning. 57-year-old Trent Schneider is charged with making a threat to kill President Trump. And he's seen here in a mugshot from an incident back in 2022. According to the complaint, Schneider made an Instagram post last month on October 16th where he said he lost his home and threatened to kill the president. The complaint went on to say a concerned citizen in Florida viewed the video and reported it to law enforcement. Schneider was taken into custody this morning without incident.
I still didn't get it yet.
Operation with the U.S. Secret Service and a SWAT team here in Lake County. A neighbor tells us that he's lived alone in his house going on 10 years and has had run-ins with the law. Schneider ordered to remain detained in federal custody pending a detention hearing on Thursday. Now, the Secret Service Director Sean Curran this afternoon saying that he is proud of his agents and their swift and decisive actions in the case, saying that their top priority is to protect.
Do you need $300, $500, or even $1,000 fast? We fix
the president.
They need to be killed. They need to be executed, okay? They are frauds, okay? I think it's time. I've waited long enough. I'm going to get some guns. I know where I can get a lot of guns, and I am going to take care of business myself. I'm tired of all you frauds. People need to die, and people are going to die. All of you, especially you, Trump. You should be executed.
Wow. Okay.
We're out here in Lake County once again, in pursuit of those trophy whitetail bucks. It's mid-morning, November 4th. The wind is out of the east-southeast, and it's that time of year that every deer hunter in Illinois has been waiting for. It's the rut. I rattled early this morning, and a big 10-pointer caught me off guard when he came out of the north, came angled toward me down this path that I mowed earlier in the year. I had to let him walk. When he didn't present a shot, he was angled at me. But there's plenty of hunt left in the year. Let's see if we can make something happen.
Okay. All right, that's all. There was one more breaking news. There was a shooting in Virginia. I don't know how close Ann was from Virginia.
about 1 p.m. The sources I'll
25.
use: Independent, Sentinel, Stephen Gardner, Daily Mail, Hal Turner Plus. Some of the things I'll cover: X-Flare, U.S. airspace down, President Trump, 3 fronts, and the U.S. government shut down. What can we expect next? So we've had within the past hour from Space Weather, NASA, an X-flare 1.8. We were expecting some X-flares this week that led to extreme UV radiation penetrating the Earth, resulting in a radio blackout, especially short wave over South America. That happened in the past hour. With this X-flare, it's possible it also released a CME, which we could see in a few days. So that's going on. And Space Weather on YouTube, formerly Suspicious Observers, indicates we have inbound CMEs from previous flares that could impact Earth on Thursday, producing geomagnetic storms. So that's going on. We have this from Stephen Burns, geophysicist, regarding Atlas and the sun. Yesterday, November 3, we had 2 M-class flares, one of a 5 strength, the second a 3. Also releasing CMEs that could hit Earth in a few days. We've had also, along with this increased sun activity, more earthquakes, including one 6.1 Kamchatka Peninsula. We know we saw that earlier. So we have Alaska. We have the Russian Kamchatka Peninsula. So we've had another 6.1 in this area. There's also been, in the past few days, a 6.3 in Afghanistan that tragically has resulted in hundreds, possibly thousands of deaths. So that's going on. And he reports X-flares are expected in the next few days. And he put this out like late yesterday, and this afternoon we did have an X-flare. So that's going on. And with regard to Atlas, we have we know that NASA and ESA have not released their high-resolution pictures they've been taking over the past several weeks of Atlas. And now this report from the European Space Agency, its JUICE project, sent out to look at Jupiter, which is where it's believed Atlas will head after it rounds the sun. However, some more news regarding withholding information. So it's being put out that ESA JUICE spacecraft is near the sun, and it is having to turn off its main antenna and rotate it to shield JUICE from the sun, which will slow down transmission, communications. So whatever JUICE is observing in November of Atlas will not be transmitted to the Earth until February. And we have this from Daily Excellence, a show by Mike from Around the World, bringing out more information that the Earth is currently undergoing a pole shift. So that's going on. And yeah, Mike from Around the World, the pole shift, which is a cycle and I've put this out before, happening every 13,000 or 26,000 years. Many of us are familiar with the large elephant mammoths that were flash frozen in Russia, still with buttercups in their mouths, believed to be a product of the last pole shift, and that we are currently in a pole shift, which, of course, the electromagnetic shield around the Earth is much weaker and lets in more radiation from the sun, and this is heating up the Earth's core, which is then impacting crops, weather, and so on. The last time we had, about 13,000 years ago, a pole shift, we went into an ice age when there was an increased environmental evolution of white skin humans. Because the lighter your skin is, the less of the sun you need to make vitamin D. So if your climate is very cold and you can't be outside a long time, God built.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
Service, law enforcement or fire is approaching this scene from every direction. Just to give you a better
I'm in Louisville.
Fern Valley Road is north of this area. It's just south of the airport. Fern Valley Road is closed in all directions, so the folks that might be working a second shift at Ford down there.
We may get to a point where we want to save the foam and use it for tactical areas we need to put out.
Great lane that's going to be closed. Outer loop is a parking lot right now because of the.
Yo, the amount of damage. I don't know the last time I saw something like this.
First responders.
But it was on this plane.
So, right
Engine
now,
90, you're on channel, your status.
I would tell anybody, I know this is a tragic event. It's very visual.
Man, Q76 operations good.
Down here and try to take a look at this because all you're going to do is hinder.
Turn off to all members that are not actually operating a truck. Please use a truck for shelter.
Responders are down here because not only is this affecting planes.
Engine 177, over from Station 2.
All of these businesses that are down here.
Chief 5 from Ship Battalion 3. Did you know you got another engine coming from outer loop? We can get some more water up here to the main area. Jeffersonville Chief 92, that unit. I got an engine and a tower going to come right here, and I got to have it for you right here at First Stages. Command, that's correct. You should be engine 20. I think I see him down there driving a supply now. All right, tell them to pull all the way up here. I need them to supply the Air Force pumper. The Air Guard pumper that's right in front of the sea, and they don't have any water yet. It's Rescue 68. Engine 90W, are you on channel? On assignment to supply the Quint that's back in the junkyard, more towards the source of the fire, but if you need them there over that, I'll do it. Disregard, I found some more somewhere
This is crazy. So,
the plane is okay.
Somebody has said it's a terror attack. I don't know what it is.
Airport Chief 81 to command. How about trucks?
Come down some more. Is there marks in the grass there?
I'm a fanatic of. I was obsessed with watching plane crashes, and I've watched many of them, like documentaries.
We were in the middle of a village, but this was breaking.
And there was a plane crash with a cargo plane that was hijacked. a long time ago, and it was actually a former employee. It was really a really crazy story on Mayday Air. This guy was trying to crash the plane. He was doing everything he could to crash the plane, and the guys fought him to not. But he beat these guys bloody. This is the video and story, a life and death battle on board Federal Express Flight 705. It was an insane story. I don't know if this is that, but it has happened before.
Okay, we'll come back at the end and see what's going on.
Fair skin. So we needed less exposure to the sun to make vitamin D.
A lot of stuff going on, you guys. Busy.
So that's going on. And Mike puts this forth, that our desires and our prayers control the future and also change our DNA. I believe that. And that changes we pray for can culminate through our children. And that goes along with a word from the Lord to the Christian prophet Dutch Sheets several months ago, that our prayers are always answered by God, if not within our lifetime, then through our bloodline children. So that's going on. And we have this from Real Raw News. The Secret Service this week found bugs in the White House, meaning secret listening devices, and in the office of Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. This is the reason that the press has been restricted to a small area. They may no longer go into various parts of the White House. They may no longer go into the office of Caroline Leavitt. And these bugs, these listening devices that were found deep within the West Wing and in the office of Caroline Leavitt, are very sophisticated, and they can not only listen but transmit in real time and are about the size of a hair. So that's going on. And we have this. President Trump's Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy. The U.S. airspace may need to be shut down due to the government shutdown and air traffic controllers not being paid. I submit there may be a defense part of the U.S. that will require that airspace over the U.S. be shut down. We'll get into that. So that's going on. And we have this. Hal Turner's intel that communications have come to the attention of various intel groups inside the U.S. government of a communication between President Trump's Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and the Defense Minister of Iraq, Thabit al-Abbasi, that the U.S. communicates to Iraq. The U.S. military may be going hot very soon in the Middle East. And Pete Hegseth was giving a warning to Iraq for the Iran-backed militias that operate inside Iraq not to get involved. And it's believed this will be a possible dust-up between the U.S. and or Israel with Iran. So that's going on. And from Hal Turner. So we see Reagan, D.C. So we see Sean Duffy. We see the Secretary of Transportation talking about airspace over the entire U.S. may be shut down. We do know that the Reagan Airport in Washington, D.C., the airport is currently shut down due to a bomb threat on a plane. And visuals are of a United Airlines plane parked, isolated, and surrounded by police and emergency vehicles. So that's going on. We have this from Daily Mail. American Airlines is shutting down immediately. And an Alaskan airline, Kenai Airlines, is canceling all flights and ceasing operation immediately. So that's going on. And we have this from Independent Sentinel. Yes, we recall a rogue judge coming against President Trump. Judge.
I began paying employees in 1988. I would handwrite checks.
Roseberg.
13 minutes.
Now it's coming out that he was heavily involved in the Commie Dems Russiagate plot against President Trump in an operation called Arctic Frost, where Judge Brosberg signed off on the surveillance of Republican senators, their phones, their computers, and whatever. Now it's coming out. This information is coming out. So the Republicans are now calling for an impeachment investigation of Judge Brosberg. And we have this. Yeah. So we had also in Venezuela, we had the Delta Force, Delta Plus, rescuing American children inside Venezuela. And it's being put forth that President Trump may be holding off on imminent U.S. military action against Venezuela while child rescue efforts are being made inside Venezuela by the U.S. military. So we have this report. In the past few days, Delta Force have rescued 12 American children who were kidnapped inside America, then taken to Venezuela, ages 8 to 16. We had 2 separate kidnappings. One was in March of 2024 and one in July of 2025, resulting in the 12 American children being rescued. So intel for the CIA was given to the U.S. military, who launched Delta forces, and Delta went into Venezuela, and they were supported by Navy vessels inside the Caribbean. And they located the kidnapped children in the Venezuelan state of Bolivia. And in the Delta Force then went in and neutralized 28 guards in 15 minutes and rescued 12 children. They also destroyed 1,500 kilos of cocaine. So way to go, President Trump. Yes, let's take care of the children involved. We have this in Texas. We had a joint law enforcement effort in Fort Bend County. We had 43 arrests. We also had the rescue of another 12 children. And this was a joint effort by the police departments of Katy, Texas, of the Texas State Patrol, and sheriff's offices in Montgomery and Fort Bend counties, and the Houston Police Department. Also, the police department.
Bam, it's dinner time. Finding that sweet spot between convenience, cost, and maybe some actual nutrition.
Of other immediate counties were also involved. So way to go, President Trump, putting forth support to rescue the children, whether in the U.S. or in foreign countries. And we have this from Stephen Gardner. Elon Musk recently on a Joe Rogan show said that Dems had brought in the illegals to the U.S. It's now estimated about 50 million to vote for the Dems. And we have discovered that 700,000 illegals are using SNAP benefits. And we have 21 red states. That means they're align with the commie Dems, will not supply the federal government with their SNAP records because they don't want the federal government to know how many illegals in their states are receiving benefits. And it's believed the Dems will hold the U.S. government closed until elections are made. Today's Tuesday in Virginia and New Jersey, and tomorrow in New York City. So we'll see which way the commie Dems are going to go. A follow-up on the escaped monkeys in Mississippi. So I reported that we had escaped monkeys. I was in Mississippi a few days ago who had been infected at the Tulane University lab with herpes, COVID, and hepatitis C. Now it's coming out. Initial reports were that there was a truck accident in Mississippi and monkeys had escaped, but they had all been found except one, and the ones that were found were shot dead. And they said there was one still out, but it turns out there were 3 still out. Now, one of those out of 3 has been shot dead by a mother of 5, Jessica Ferguson, in Heidelberg, Mississippi, Jasper County. And the actual accident a few days ago occurred on Mississippi Interstate Highway 59 near mile marker 117. This happened on October 28th. So apparently there are still 2 escaped monkeys who have been infected and would be contagious. We have this from Ukraine. We're hearing in Ukraine that Russia is taking Pokrovsk and Kupiansk And we had reports today from Alex Christoforo that Zelensky is saying, oh, there's only a handful of Russians in this area, while military analysts can see via satellites that the Russians have these areas surrounded. And the 5,000 to 10,000 Ukraine troops inside these areas are likely either surrender or they will be neutralized. Now we're hearing there will be less financial support for Ukraine because Belgium refuses to confiscate Russian money that's invested in banks there in a wealth fund, which technically is illegal on a global basis to just take another nation's money that's invested in your banks. So the EU had this plan to give money to Ukraine by using the Russian billion dollars in the Belgian banks as collateral, and then make a loan from the International Monetary Group and give the money to Ukraine. But Belgium refuses to confiscate the Russian money. So Ukraine is...
All right, team, listen up. There's a national blood shortage. Big Ten schools, how do we get students, fans...
going to receive much less money in the near future. Now, I would like to comment. So we had that intel from Hal Turner that it appears an imminent U.S. plus or Israel hit on Iran maybe happening soon. We have President Trump and military sources saying that the U.S. may soon go hot in both Mexico and Venezuela. So we see President Trump in the position of putting the U.S. and the U.S. military in the position of pursuing three fronts simultaneously using the U.S. military. I submit that these irregularities we're seeing with airports inside the U.S. could also align with the U.S. going hot in these areas and the U.S. shutting down its airspace. So that's going on. Now, a short prayer. This is based on Ezra chapter 6. Father, we come to you in the name of Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, and we ask that you bless the United States of America with laying and fortifying a new foundation in our nation. And we pray that the restoration of gold and silver in our nation be forthcoming and flowing. And we pray that all of these expenses for fortifying and for bringing forth prosperity of the United States of America, any expenses be covered by the U.S. government. And we pray, Father, that you block any interference inside our nation by any deep state traitors who may have infiltrated the U.S. government, the U.S. military, U.S. corporations, and so on. And we pray, Father, that you repair and restore America and fortify your people inside this great nation. And we say thank you, God the Father, God the Son, Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, and God the Holy Spirit. I say to my family and friends, remain steady out there, continue to pray. God is in charge, and he is on the move. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, 25-minute Billy today. Kay's video. About 9 minutes. Oh.
Looking at Joe Biden and his administration, and things are very blatantly obvious, and you guys want to act like it's not really happening. Let me give you an example. The last 4 years, while all of us were looking at Joe Biden and his administration, and we could clearly see that this man was not okay and was not running the country. And now we're starting to really see just how dangerous that was for America when someone was stamping his name on documents that quite literally changed the trajectory of things in the world, okay? And Joe Biden had no idea his name was being stamped on certain things, okay? Joe Biden, who was being told, come here, stand there, wave, go over here, answer this question. And the Democrat Party thought that that was okay. And when people called it out, we were called fascists and Nazis and dictators and threats to democracy, right? When we could quite literally say, this man is not mentally well. This man is not okay. You can see and hear that he's not mentally okay, right? And the Democrats thought, okay, well, once the debate happened, oh boy, everyone can see this now, which we have seen this. We've seen the whole thing. We knew something was not right, even when he was running, and he was never on the campaign trail because you guys used the word COVID. But I digress. It's literally right in front of your face, and you guys were literally saying he was the best president we've ever seen. He's running leaps and bounds around the White House, right? You guys, right? We could see it. We could hear it. We could see the damage to the economy. The Democrats were just using the United States government as a bankroll for every little project in every other country and driving our economy into the dirt. And we all saw it, right? We saw it. And you guys were acting like it wasn't happening. And here we are today, right? Where the Democrat senators on camera have all come out and said that they understand that their voting no to keep the government shut down is going to hurt families, but it is their only leverage that they think that they have to stick it to the Republicans, right? They've all said this on camera multiple times, and they have now voted 14 times. And you still want to say that it's not us. It's not the Democrats. We're not doing this. This is those evil Republicans and evil Donald Trump. It's literally right in front of you, California girl. Every senator on the Republican side has voted to fund WIC, has voted to fund the government, has voted to fund SNAP benefits, has voted to keep the government open. And the Democrat senators keep voting no because they think it's some sort of leverage against the evil Donald Trump. Meanwhile, it's hurting everyday families. And you are still sitting in my comment section being like, no, it's not us. It's not the Democrats. No, ma'am, it's you. It's Donald Trump, evil dictator, fascist. Wake up. The Democrat senators are quite literally telling you this to your face, that it is them. And they know it's hurting American families. And they don't care. And they're going to continue to vote no and keep the government closed. And you're in my comment section being like, no, it's not. It's Donald Trump. Girl, wake up. For 4 years, the Democrat Party hid that Joe Biden was not mentally well. They didn't hide it very well, as we all know, right? For 4 years, someone was stamping his name on shit that the president of the United States had no idea what was going on. That is a problem. And your party did that. And then they shoved Kamala up without a fucking vote and said, this is who you're going to vote for. But somehow Donald Trump's the dictator. Girl, come on. It is right in front of your face. It is right in front of you. Now, listen, you don't like Donald Trump. That's fine. You can hate Donald Trump, but you got to at least see what the fuck is going on, babe. Understand that you need a certain amount of votes in the Senate. And the Republicans have a very slim majority in the Senate. So in order to fund the government, they're going to need Democrats to vote yes. And they're not doing it. And they're being very upfront about they're not doing it. And they don't care. Okay? Us, Republicans, are saying, hey, look, why don't we not pay them? Why do we not let the Democrat senators and Republican senators not get paid? Because if you're not going to vote to fund the government so people get their SNAP benefits, then why are you getting a paycheck, right? We're all for that. I'm all for that, right? But you are still in my comment section acting like what's happening is not really happening because of your incessant hatred of Donald Trump. So my question to you is, California girl, to what end? What end? When Trump is gone and it's somebody else, who is going to be your bad boogeyman before you realize that the people in the Democrat Party that once was a great party that I once belonged to is no longer that party? They are actively backing a fucking communist. A communist for mayor in one of our greatest cities in this country. Okay? And they all know deep down he's the worst possible choice. But they have sold out to this far left activism nonsense. And they've just, this is where we are. You have to see it at some point. Okay? You can hate Donald Trump, but you got to see it. Okay? And if you don't understand how the government works, then just do a little bit of research. Okay? You need a certain amount of votes. They're not getting the votes. And until they get those votes, they can't fund the government. It was a clean CR. There was nothing in there that was added. It was a CR that the Democrats have previously voted yes on before. They just copied it and brought it right back. This is 100% on the Democrats. 100%. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Now, you can be mad that taxpayers are not going to be getting paid from SNAP benefits. That's fine. I've never received SNAP benefits. I've had to, quite honestly, support my own family. And everybody else is, while y'all are getting, whatever. That's a whole nother video. But you have to wake up at some point and see that what's happening is actually happening. And you can't just go, nuh-uh, but Donald Trump sucks. He's a fascist dictator. You have to see what's happening in front of you, okay? And if anything, stop pretending that you don't see it, okay? For 4 years, the Democrat Party probably did one of the most heinous things ever. They put up a man that had full-blown dementia and wasn't there and pretended he was the president of the United States. They stamped his name on shit that quite honestly affected other countries and people in this country and out of this country. They stamped his name on shit and he had no idea what was going on. It is probably the most dangerous, un-American thing that you could possibly think of. But they want you to think that Trump is the fascist dictator. It's insanity to me. Because if anything of that had happened under Trump's administration, you guys would be screaming for his head. But here we are. It is quite honestly the Democrats' fault that the government is closed down. And they're not even hiding it, sweetheart. They're not hiding it. Listen, Trump can be many things, and I'll be the first one to tell you there's things that I don't like about him, but this is not one of them. Nope. This ballroom that you all are so mad about, him demolishing a hallway, because that's really what it is, a hallway, is being paid for by himself and private donors, okay? Private donors are people, things that you use, like Apple and Amazon and all of that. It's not coming out of the taxpayer's dollar, okay? And it's going to be able to be there for use for millions of years for other presidents to be able to use too, right? So you have to wake up at some point, okay? You don't have to like everything about it. I understand that. But this is 100% on the Democrats. You can't just keep pretending like it's not happening when it is, okay? It is. I'm sorry. It is. The Democrat Party is no longer a thing anymore. I don't know what it is, but your father's party of the JFK moment when I was a Democrat is no longer here because they would never support a man like Zora Mondani as any kind of politician in the United States of America. But here we are, okay? This is not the same Democrat Party that your parents once belonged to. They are doing things that are quite honestly very dangerous for this country, including keeping the government closed while people are going to be losing all of their benefits. And they don't care because they're still receiving their paychecks. So you can't just pretend it's not happening because it is. And this is not Donald Trump's fault. Okay? Okay. Good talk.
Okay, Kay's favorite one.
New York City, America's financial capital, in fact, the entire world's financial capital, fall to socialism. Foreign socialist Zoran Mamdani is hell-bent on implementing policies that have never worked anywhere they've been tried. This is such an important race that the President of the United States, who is a Republican, has had to endorse a Democrat, even though there's a Republican running in the race, because he knows that Republican has no chance of defeating the socialist candidate. This is how important that race is. Trump has had to pick essentially between Ebola and cancer. You know, a big turd versus a smaller turd. They're both turds, but one's like significantly worse than the other. Trump said it very perfectly. He'd rather deal with a bad Democrat than deal with a communist. And that's what Zoran Mamdani is. Andrew Cuomo is doing everything in his power to get in the good graces of Republicans. He just went on Fox News to try one more time to convince Curtis Sliwa voters to vote for him, because as it turns out, he would win in a head-to-head if Mamdani and him were just in the race and Curtis Sliwa dropped out. But Curtis Sliwa has not dropped out, and I don't think he has to. He's a Republican candidate. If anything, Andrew Cuomo shouldn't have forced himself into the race, and all the money that's been spent on him could have been spent on Curtis Sliwa. But here is Andrew Cuomo on Fox News apologizing. That's how much he wants to win. Apologizing for his previous actions, which is something I've never seen him do, or any Democrat do. They don't take accountability. They just blame Republicans.
Nobody knew what we were dealing with. I had the best health experts from around the globe giving us advice. We followed the best advice. We followed the federal guidance. And
capital, in fact, the entire world's financial capital dropped out, but Curtis Sliwa has not dropped himself into the race, and all the money that's been spent on him could have been spent on Curtis Sliwa. But here is Andrew Cuomo on Fox News apologizing.
I thought Chris Cuomo was in
much he
trouble.
wants to win.
How's he running
Apologizing
again?
for his previous actions, which is something I've never seen him do, or any Democrat do. They don't take accountability. They just blame Republicans.
nobody knew what we were dealing with. I had the best health experts from around the globe giving us advice. We followed the best advice. We followed the federal guidance. And people died in a horrific way. There were no visitors allowed into nursing homes. And I apologize for any family that lost a loved one during that time. It was on my watch. And I understand how terrible it was.
Yeah, we really were first and worst. I remember calling my family down in South Carolina saying, Mom and Dad, do not go to that party. You don't understand what's happening here. Y'all need to stay away from your friends right now and stay at home. People are losing their loved ones. My doorman, many of them lost like their dad, their mom. It was really sad. Janice Dean lost both of her in-laws because of the nursing home situation. It was a really hard time for New York, and we were the first.
Look, he apologized. The question is, are New Yorkers interested in forgiving him? Maybe not, but clearly President Trump's endorsement is working on some. This guy over here was not interested in voting for Cuomo until Trump said, yeah, go vote for him because you have no other choice.
City resident, tell me why you decided to vote for Andrew Cuomo.
I decided to vote for Andrew Cuomo because he has a lot of experience. He's been the governor of New York, and I feel like we don't want our city to go in a direction that's not, important for businesses as well as our regular everyday New Yorkers.
Obviously, Mr. Cuomo is not the front runner, according to just about every poll that's out there. You look at Zoran Mamdani is the front runner. What do you?
By the way, this is bothering me. Why does it say polls open in first major test of Trump's second term? What do any of these races have to do with Trump? It's New York City. A liberal was always going to win. It's just how bad, like 50 shades of gray, like which shade of bad are you talking about? And it just so happens that we have a really bad one and just a bad one.
What do you think of him as a candidate? And none of the things that he was talking about appeal to you? Affordable housing, making health care for children more affordable, free buses, none of that appealed to you? And
Don't you want the freebies that he's offering you? Huh? Don't you want the handouts
Yeah,
he's
halfway,
offering?
5
Come on.
minutes.
What didn't appeal to you? Yeah, everything about Zoran is unappealing.
What you were looking for in a mayor?
Well, I don't think nothing is free. You know, with a background in finance and economics and business, I know that it's important that you have to pay for things. Even if you're paying for it at a discounted rate, you need to be able to pay for it. I don't think nothing is given free. I think it's important that we all should be able to work. I think job creation is the key to all of it. We must create jobs. We must put our people back to work. New Yorkers need to work. And that's what I think Governor Cuomo will do for us. He'll help us to get our jobs back and help keep our businesses here in the city of New York.
And Mr. Jackson, one final question. What happens if Mr. Mamdani ends up being the city's next mayor? What are your thoughts about what his relationship might be like with President Trump?
I don't know if it's going to be that great because I think President Trump, definitely wants to make sure that New York is in good hands. He's a New Yorker himself, and I feel like he wants to make sure that New York is in great hands. So it's important that age is important. I feel like we can't run things if we are not in a good age. I think 40 is pretty much the best age to run if you're running for mayor of this great city. If you're younger than 40, I don't think you can really do what we need. Age brings about wisdom.
Lead is invisible, but the
Trump is a New Yorker. He wants New York to do well. This guy is voting for Cuomo because Trump said so. He wouldn't be voting for no Cuomo. He'd be voting for Curtis Lewa. It's so funny. Look how much Trump has changed this country. You have a black guy here having to vote for a Democrat because Trump asked him to. We have gone full circle, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump has changed this country's politics. So more people have already voted so far in this race than all of 2021, and there's still hours to go. 1.19 million people. There's way more than that live in New York. It's funny because a lot of those votes are still going to be dubious, Like the DOJ better have 1 billion monitors there, making sure everything is done legally, because we know Democrats don't like following rules, and certainly not socialist. That's 250,000 early votes and mail-in votes. So we'll see. Maybe the turnout would be 2 million by the end of all this. But a lot of people are going to show up for Election Day. Why is he smiling? What a dork. There's Andrew Cuomo voting. Look, I don't like Andrew Cuomo. Think he's a piece of crap, but he's clearly the better option. So 462,000 people have already voted by this point. So it looks like that number is going to be 1 million pretty soon. It's going to be 1 million. Look, if it's in a head-to-head, Cuomo would win, and that's a big deal. So it's not like it's completely over. He could still do something, but I don't really expect Mamdani to lose. I feel like he has convinced enough gullible people to vote for him with free stuff, like the promise of handouts. And who doesn't want free? Free everything. Morgan Freeman this, Morgan Freeman that. So yeah, he's gonna probably win. It might be really close. If Cuomo manages to pull it off, it'll be because Republicans voted for him. We can see this in two ways. It's bad because New York is going to become a socialist dump, essentially, with a lot of stupid policies. That's one reason why it's bad. But it's also somewhat of a positive because, one, it undermines Democrats nationally for them to have a socialist commie mayor in New York City who's destroying it. That's campaign material for Republicans. And it's also somewhat good for us because if Andrew Cuomo were to win, let's say he pulls it off somehow, it would be because of Republicans that Trump pushed to go vote for him. And he would have no choice but to do things, enact policies in favor of the Republican base. It'd be like Republicans gain leverage in a city they have no business being able to gain leverage because of how blue it is. So there's a lot of ways to look at this. Like, it's not just bad. If Zoran wins, we win as the Republicans, because New York was always going to have a Democrat or some version of a Democrat in it. And if we manage to get Cuomo to win, we gain a little power and a little leverage. We can talk to him in a certain way. Trump can tell Cuomo, we're sending the National Guard in to secure the city and make it safe and make it habitable for everybody. We're going to want to deport millions of people out of there. We're going to want you to secure your elections. Guess what? He has to, because Trump endorsed him, and that's how politics works. If people put you in power, they have some degree of control over you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. God bless you all, and goodbye.
Okay, Izzy, or I can't pronounce the name. Okay, we got news for us.
E
7 minutes.
T situation.
7 minutes.
Okay. I know I just don't write very well, do I, guys? I'm in a hurry here because today is supposed to be News Force down so this guy can get into my phone and see if we can't pull data to get into my computer. But I'm here with you guys because this is really important. I don't think anybody understands what's going on with the EBT breakdown fully. So the idea behind it is for the old government to be gone, which is what we crashed. And for our new government that's supposed to only be functioning off the percentage of money that there are people that need it. So this is what just went on. So we took all EBT away. And we made it look like the government was striking it all and just taking it away, okay? What was really going on was we were crashing the system so that we can come back into our righteous system. The system we crashed was the fraud system. Now it's been renewed. And how did the White Hats do that? The White Hats went ahead and they said, oh, we're going to send this judge in. Remember, the judge is ordering for them to pay, and they're going to use the, I think it's called the emergency fund, a contingency type fund. Now, we just got it announced by Kash Patel that there was unlimited amounts of fraud through EBT. So we know they've known that for a long time. So they know the ones that are righteously supposed to be on it and the ones that are not. And probably righteously between the stealing of the funds of EBT from the government and the corporations and then all the people that don't belong on it, that brings it down to that beautiful 4% of the total kitty that should be there for the people that are righteously supposed to be on it. So if you know people that are righteously supposed to be on it and their benefits expired, now that Trump is going to, well, the military, not Trump, the military is now taking the true funds because they figured out how much it's supposed to be, and that's what's supposed to be the emergency funds. The emergency funds are not emergency funds. They are the new funding for the people that really need it, okay? In other words, walking away from the incorporated and stepping into our world of truth. And everything will come down to 4%. Our military will come down to 4%. Our government will come down to 4%. Everything will come down to 4% of what it is temporarily the way it is, okay? We have to transition. So you just watched a huge transition, okay? Huge. It was a big one. You just watched us walk out of the cabal, okay? And into our new system. So now the new system is kicking at 4%, and we're calling that with the people emergency funds, and it'll run out. Well, no, it won't, because they put the money there because that's what they see righteously. The amount of people that were on EBT actually belong on it. So back to what I was saying. Criticalness. If you know people that were on this program and got kicked off, You need to reapply now. They can see who belongs on it and who doesn't. Transparency is everything. If you righteously belong on it, go throw your information in. The worst they can do is tell you no. But the funds are there and they are going to give it to the righteous people. If you are disabled, if you truly are like the girl above this post I'm putting now, like her, where she has children, she's working full time, she's doing everything she can to take care of herself, and she needs that little boost for a little while. Okay, she belongs on it righteously. You guys have to go reapply into the new system now, is what I'm saying, okay? So reapply, definitely, okay? Everybody get your stuff in. They're waiting. As soon as you put your application in, as soon as you do, and if you don't have the ability to go online, you can have it mailed to you too. You can also go on in through the doors too. We are looking for the people who righteously belong on it. Now is your time, righteous people. Go ahead and put your apps back in and they'll get you approved and get you set up. You're probably going to find out there's more benefits available. They've really been stealing from a system that'll just about truly lift up the people that it needs to. Okay, so everybody please spread the word. Truthers, warriors, spread the word that now you got to go put your application back in again for the new kitty of the new money, which is probably right now sitting at about a fourth, and everything else, 3/4 of it was all being stolen, guys. So when you hear them talk, you got to kind of put it together like Cash Patel and what he said, okay? It was just so pretty the way they did it. So they cut everybody off. Cash came out.
Hi, Joe. I can't remember your name, but yeah, I've been on Cable if she can drop the other channel links. I never left. I just got my big channel back about a week and a half ago. I'm over 1 million views. So all the support and everything, and yeah, I never left. I've been here. Glad you're back. My times are 5 o'clock during the week. 5 Michigan time.
Said they've been stealing like crazy, guys. Whoa, just massive amounts. And then the next thing you know, we've got we've got Trump, the military, saying, "Okay, yeah, we'll go with you on it, Judge." Okay, it's the process of transitioning. The truth in there is that's how we switched over to the new system of EBT temporarily. We got to keep EBT around until we all have our funding back from our birth certificates and stuff like that. Okay, so these are the systems. And you can clearly see if the system's been being raped by 75% on EBT, imagine the other systems in government. Now you can see why everything will come down to about 4% of what we truly needed in the government. They kept making compartments. Every time they needed more money, oh, we need to go ahead and create this department of economic something, okay, like that. They would just create a new department and start sucking funds. And that has come to an end. We just put that to a screeching halt. With that, I better get off of here so we can get started and try and get this data off my.
Okay, that was a short update. So I might end up with News Force, you guys. Everybody likes News Force, right? It was yesterday's News Force. Oh, shoot. Ah. Uh, I had the wrong one. That one's an hour. I can't find it. Let's try this one here. Oh, don't tell me you're. Ah. Dang it. I'm frozen again. Oh, there we go. That was close call there. Ah, what am I doing? Shoot. I know. Well, you guys, I guess we have to. Darn it. This one is an hour 20, but I'll probably just play till 7:30, a half hour. Unless you guys want me to play the whole thing, I will.
Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name's Dave, and this episode 3766 BN. Today's date is November 3rd, 2025, and the title of the episode is This Is Not a Game. Deep State wants us divided. Attacks will intensify. Patriots are in control. Now, as we wrap up 2025, it's a good time to slow down and reflect on the year. If there's one thing we've all learned is that uncertainty isn't temporary. It's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to normal isn't a plan, it's a gamble. For over a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments have helped Americans protect themselves and the people they love by diversifying their wealth with gold and silver. Look, no one knows what 2026 will bring, but one thing's for sure. In an uncertain world, real wealth isn't digital. It's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. So when you're sitting around the table this holiday season, surrounded by family, remember the best gift you can give isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind. And that's what Noble Gold delivers. Peace of mind, 1 ounce at a time. Before the year ends, take one smart step toward a safer future. Visit x22gold.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. That's x22gold.com. Don't leave your future to chance, or just click the link in the description. And remember, past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, big tech fake news, the puppet masters, they know that they have lost the people. They know the people are not on their side. All their policies have basically driven the people away. And remember, when Biden was in the White House for 4 years, pushing Obama's, Soros's policies, the country woke up. The country started to realize what was going on. And from that point on, they realized that they didn't have the people anymore. And this is why they were bringing in as many illegals as possible. Yes, there's many different agendas associated with that. But again, they were bringing the illegals in because they needed voters, because they were losing voters very, very quickly as they were pushing their policies. And they needed as many people as possible because, again, they don't have constituents. They only have the criminals, the illegals, Trans-Tifa, Antifa, you name it. And this is a major, major problem for them. And when we entered the 2024 election, they realized that at this point, there was no way that they were going to be able to cheat in the election like they did in 2020. First of all, there was no COVID. Everyone wasn't locked down. Everyone wasn't scared. They weren't able to print the ballots that they wanted to print. And people were coming out to the polls. And this time around, it was very, very different because the people, they saw the policies of Biden, which was really Obama, Soros, and others. And they realized that, wait, the country's heading in the wrong way, and we reject all of this. And the deep state players said, okay, listen, since we can't win the election, what we'll do is just even out whatever Kamala's going to get and make it look even as Obama, Bill Clinton, and the rest.
So, yeah, we'll play
Of course,
15.
Joe Biden, when he won in 2020, which what I really mean is they rigged the election and they made it look like he won. They had to really up them to 81 million votes. And if they gave 81 million votes to Kamala Harris or 75 million, it would look kind of strange. No one would actually buy that. Plus, the numbers wouldn't make sense when you started to add them all up. So they brought the numbers back down to the level of Obama, Clinton, to make it look like, okay, this is what she got, and she lost. And they decided to change up strategy, and they decided to move everything to after the election. It's almost like in 2016. 2016, they thought they had the cheating system. It was set in stone. They had the popular vote. There was no way Trump was going to win. And then he used the Electoral College, which threw them, and they had no idea what would happen. So they moved their operation to after the election. And that's where Russian collusion came in. That's where the Alpha Bank hoax came in. That's where impeachment number 1 came in. Impeachment hoax number 2 came in. And they tried everything during the time that he was in his presidency. This time around, they knew they couldn't cheat in the election the way they did in 2020. So they decided to move the operation to after the election. But this time, they weren't going to use Russian collusion or impeachments or indictments. They've tried all that before. All that is dead in the water. So the things that they had left is, number one, is how do you get the Republican MAGA base, how do you get them fighting with each other? How do you get them to turn on each other? Now, remember, the deep state, one of their main tactics is division. They divide people by race. They divide people by religion. They divide people by politics. They divide people by almost everything. As long as they can keep the people divided, they have a chance of chaos and keeping people confused and they're able to do what they need to do. And I do believe this is one of their strategies that they're using right now. Remember when Biden said, what are we going to do? And I think there was a lip reader at the time. And Obama said, don't worry, we have time. I do believe what Obama was talking about, they had time until the next presidential election. So these 4 years, they weren't going to impeach Trump. They weren't going to indict Trump. They were just going to try to stop Trump with all his policies long enough. So when he goes throughout the 4 years, that nothing will be done. Almost like what they did going back to 2016 to 2020. They even tried to throw in the Epstein files because they knew the MAGA base really wanted the Epstein files. So they created new Epstein files and they just pushed that because they were trying to use that to create the chaos. So you could see they were trying these type of strategies and they were trying to use MAGA, everything that MAGA wanted against those people in MAGA. Because again, you're creating division. You'll have certain MAGA people saying, I want the Epstein files, get them now, because they believe they have the information that shows that, like Schiff and many other people went down to Epstein Island. And then you had the other people on the other side saying, no, this is what we don't want. This is Russian collusion 2.0. They created these Epstein files. They're trying to trap Trump and bog him down in all this crap. And this is what they did to try to divide the MAGA movement. Now we're starting to see Israel. And I find this very, very interesting because once again, Antifa actually in their paperwork actually said, let's use Israel to divide the MAGA movement. And it seems like they're moving in that direction. And you could see there are certain influencers out there. I'm not going to name them all. I think everyone understands who they are. And you could see that they're now pushing a certain narrative. Now, you might believe it, not believe it. It makes no difference. I do believe the entire mission is to divide MAGA as best they possibly can. And I noticed something very, very interesting this time around. Trump has not endorsed Marjorie Taylor Greene, which I find very, very interesting. But you could see that as you move forward, it seems that they're trying to divide the MAGA movement. They're trying to destroy TPUSA. They're trying to destroy everything Charlie Kirk has built. They're trying to destroy what actually allowed Trump to get elected. Now, you can listen to this, not listen to this, follow their influencers you want to follow. But I'm going to go with the...
Attention law enforcement. You took an oath to protect and serve. To keep your family, your neighborhood safe. But in...
Okay, I'm sorry, guys, but I'm tired out already. We got a lot of stuff to come out. I just can't share everything. The 2 hours go by so quick. So if anything develops overnight, anytime, morning, I'll be on. Because we got election night tonight, so we'll see what happens. If there's anything big going on. The new names in here tonight were Joe, I believe, is the only one that came back for tonight. We had a lot of them come out the other night, Joe. Michelle helped us unblock a lot of people, or the ones that was we're not supposed to be blocked. But Kay's the only mod. Hey, Mike. Yeah, 5 o'clock is my regular time, and I got backup channels. Maybe tomorrow, Kay will drop the links for my backups. Yep, Chris. Yep, we'll see you all, guys, tomorrow night. Another night of intel. Lots going on. So God bless everybody. Love all. Remember, please hit like and be sure you're subbed to the backup channels. And stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, never give up. Oh, The sign Karen sent me. I got mixed up with the portable. Sorry about that, guys. But that was Karen that sent me that. And the hat. She sent the hat. Yep, so signing off. Oh, Chico's getting ready to go bananas here. All right, let's have on. Stay safe. Signing off, Chico Dude. We'll see you guys tomorrow.